Have you ever wondered what it's really like to just parachute into the middle of a massive, complex project that's already flying at 1,000 miles an hour? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the world of huge IT projects, but from a really unique angle, from the eyes of the support team that gets to see it all. And that's the feeling. That's what hits you the moment you join. It's not that fresh start, new beginnings vibe. Nope. It's like you're trying to squeeze onto a commuter train that is already completely, overwhelmingly packed. It's a powerful way to describe a reality a lot of people in tech know all too well. So this whole explainer is from the perspective of someone on a support team. And their job is pretty unique because they almost never see a project when it's just getting started. They're the specialists who get called in when things are already moving, when that train is packed and just hurtling down the tracks. And look, don't get this twisted. We're not talking about your typical IT help desk here. We're talking about a highly specialized crew. Their mission? To bring order to chaos. They organize the system, they coordinate between all the different companies, and they basically build the backbone that holds the whole thing together. And this brings up a huge question, right? When you only ever see the project at its absolute peak, it feels like it must have just been born that way, a giant from day one. But is that really how it happens? How does one little idea turn into a behemoth that fills up an entire office? Well, the truth is, these projects aren't born big at all. They grow. So let's trace the secret life cycle of one of these mega projects, from just a tiny little seed of an idea to this massive, sprawling thing. It always starts small, maybe just a handful of people in a room talking about the concept. Once they pick a mean company to build it, maybe the team grows to a few dozen for the design phase. But then, boom, the real explosion happens when development kicks off, and it hits absolute peak insanity during the testing phase. And just look at the scale of that jump. It's wild. A project can easily go from a cozy little team of 10 people to over 100 people for development. That's a tenfold increase, just like that. You can literally feel the energy in the room shift when that many people join. Believe it or not, this is a real question people have to ask when a project hits its peak. The room is just electric. Desks are crammed in everywhere, machines are humming, and the air is just thick with hundreds of different conversations happening at once. It's pure, focused, chaotic energy. Hey, if you're enjoying this peek behind the curtain of the tech world, it would be awesome if you could take a quick second to subscribe and hit that like button. It really does help us keep bringing these explainers to you. All right, back to the project room? Okay. So here's where it gets interesting. Right at the moment of peak energy, peak chaos, something really strange and quiet starts to happen. It doesn't happen all at once. It's subtle. But somewhere in the middle of all that testing, as different parts of the system get finished and signed off on, people just start rolling off the project. And the team begins, almost without anyone noticing at first, to get smaller. The contrast is just incredible. I mean, one day, the room is a buzzing beehive of activity. Every single desk is taken. Then, after the system goes live, you look around and it's quiet. This massive army of engineers has been replaced by a small, super focused team just managing the day-to-day. And this is that wait a minute moment for our narrator. You get so used to the constant noise and the crowd that the silence that comes after is genuinely shocking. It's like watching the tide go all the way out, revealing a landscape you didn't even know was there. So, now that we see the whole life cycle, from that tiny seed to the massive peak and then back down again, we can finally understand the real mission of the support team. They're not just organizers. They are, for all intents and purposes, the project's firefighters. Their job is to dive right into that super intense peak phase. They give the chaos some structure, they connect all the different teams, and most importantly, when things go wrong, and trust me, they always go wrong, they're the ones who put out the fires. And that is the question that defines their work. It's not about fire prevention, it's about crisis management. It's about running into a building that's already on fire and figuring out how to save it. This is where their real skill gets put to the test. And the people who do this kind of work, they're tough. They are seasoned veterans who have seen it all before. Kind of like those wise old mentors in an anime, they just navigate these insane situations with a calm that only comes from surviving battle after battle. So, by working with these veterans, our narrator starts to see the bigger picture. They begin to understand the real, profound purpose that's hiding behind all that frantic energy in those overflowing project rooms. Because you see, these aren't just any old projects. They are building systems that actually matter. We're talking about major social infrastructure, the kinds of things that make headlines, the invisible backbone that our daily lives completely depend on. And in that moment, it just clicks. This chaotic, high-stress environment, this invisible support role, it's not just a job. It's the very center of creation. It's where the essential systems that run our world are actually forged. This realization just changes everything. It brings this new sense of purpose, of determination. It's a promise to step up, to be a part of that creation, and to really take on the challenge. The newcomer is finally ready to start the journey to becoming a veteran. What an incredible journey, right? If you enjoyed this story from the tech trenches, please show your support by liking and subscribing. We have a lot more deep dives like this one coming your way. And that brings us to a final thought. This story was about one type of invisible team in the tech world, but it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other essential, unseen teams are out there quietly building and maintaining the world that we all rely on every single day?